Ever wonder what the real difference is between a pretty good business sale and a truly spectacular one? I'll give you a hint. It's not just about the market or your EBITDA. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the 7 essential habits of business owners who really command top dollar when they sell.
So what is the secret sauce? Most owners think it's all about perfecting the numbers on the balance sheet. And don't get me wrong, your financials are absolutely crucial, but they're almost never the single thing that separates a good outcome from a truly great one.
The real secret, well, you're not going to find it in a spreadsheet. It's actually found in the owner's mindset and their behavior. This is the very first thing that seasoned M&A advisors, the pros who actually make these deals happen, are looking for. It's their insider trick to predicting who's going to be successful.
And that's where we're going today, beyond the balance sheet, to really focus on that human factor. Because how an owner thinks and acts and really engages with the wholesale process, that can be the X factor that adds millions to the final price tag.
The core idea here is actually pretty simple, but it is so powerful. A successful sale really hinges on the owner's commitment to a long-term planning process. For the best advisors out there, seeing that willingness from you, that's not just a nice to have. It's a critical, leading indicator of a smooth process and, you guessed it, a higher price.
And how do we know this? Well, this isn't just a theory. These insights come from a huge international survey of hundreds of the top M&A professionals. We're talking about the heavy hitters, investment bankers, attorneys, wealth managers, the people who are advising thousands of business owners just like you every single year. This is what they're seeing on the front lines.
Which brings us to a super important point. When you go to meet with an advisor, you probably think you're the one interviewing them. But here's the truth. They are absolutely interviewing you. They're actively on the lookout for certain behavioral green lights and some major red flags.
And wow, this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the green lights. These are the owners who are confident, they have a clear vision, they're open to advice, they actually listen. The dream client, right? Then on the right, oh boy, these are the red flags that make advisors really nervous. Owners who are controlling, egotistical, have no clue what they'll do after they sell, they hide information, or are just plain argumentative. Which column do you think gets the better deal?
So the big question is, how do you make sure you're sending all the right signals? That's where these 7 habits of highly successful sellers come in. Think of this as your personal playbook for a fantastic exit.
Now, these 7 habits are so much more than just good business practices. They are the proven leading indicators that an owner is truly ready for a successful process and a higher value transaction. So let's dive in and break them down one by one.
All right, first up, successful sellers are always learning, and they share that knowledge. They've moved past that old idea that knowledge is power, and instead they believe knowledge is empowering. They build incredible teams by hiring people smarter than themselves. And here's why a buyer cares. It proves the business can thrive without one single person. It's a scalable, transferable asset. That's pure gold.
Next, they're patient, but they are always ready. This means they take the long-term view, right? They're not making knee-jerk reactions based on today's market noise. But, and this is key, when the perfect opportunity comes along, they are 100% prepared to act decisively. This tells an advisor you're strategic, not desperate, and that kind of discipline almost always gets you a better deal.
Habit number 3 is a big one. They just don't argue with reality. Successful owners are driven by data. They don't let wishful thinking get in the way of the facts. For them, bad news isn't a disaster. It's a signal, a call to action. And buyers absolutely love this because it means the owner has probably already found and fixed weaknesses in the business, which de-risks the whole deal for them.
Habit 4 is one of my favorites. They seek out counsel. Now, this isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of incredible strength and humility. They value expert advice and they surround themselves with A players. This is a massive green light for advisors because it shows you're coachable and that you're going to trust the process, which is so essential when you're in the middle of high-stakes negotiations.
5th, they always talk like a winner. It's all in their vocabulary. Their language is constantly focused on growth, on opportunity. For them, an exit isn't an ending, it's a confirmation of all their success. That kind of positive mindset is infectious, and believe me, it shapes the entire story of the sale, making the company a much more exciting story for buyers.
6th, they seek adventure. They have this life will not pass me by attitude, which means they have a clear, exciting vision for what their life looks like after the business. Now, why is this so critical? Because owners who don't know what's next are the ones who get seller's remorse and torpedo a great deal at the last minute. Being excited for the future fuels a positive, decisive sale.
And finally, habit 7. They take care of everyone involved. Their decisions are never made in a vacuum of self. They get that true success is a team sport. This creates this incredible goodwill, which has real tangible value. A buyer sees this and knows that a loyal management team and happy employees are way more likely to stick around through a transition, which ensures the business keeps on succeeding.
So after all that, what does this actually mean for you? Let's flip the script for a second. This framework isn't just a list of good ideas. I want you to think of it as a mirror. It's a chance to see yourself the way an advisor sees you and to understand how they decide if you're the right kind of client to partner with.
But here's the reality check. The best advisors don't just take any client who walks in the door. They hire their clients. First, they qualify you by researching a reputation. Then, they have a really disciplined intake process to show that, hey, not everyone gets in. They even use behavioral screening tools. And they live by a simple rule: hire slowly, but fire quickly if the relationship starts to turn toxic.
And all of this brings us to one final crucial thought. This quote right here just perfectly captures the owner-advisor relationship. The planning process, that's the dance. The deal itself, that's the marriage. And if the dance is clunky and out of sync, the marriage is probably doomed to fail. So the question I want to leave you with is this: are you a partner worth dancing with?